In a little under an hour, I'm going to be teaching the second to last class in my course on hip-hop culture and rap music. Now, I save the final class for exam prep, that makes sense, but I like this particular session to be dedicated to what's happening right now. Too often, hip-hop scholars pretend like hip-hop died with MF Doom and J Dilla, and so I want to keep it as current as possible. And what a windfall for me that this whole beef has happened, because it's everything that we've been studying in the second half of the semester. Not only do we have Drake and Kendrick and Ye and Cole and Future, I've spent classes on all of them, but we even have, through AI, the addition of Snoop and Tupac. I mean, literally, the class started with West Coast rap of the 80s and 90s, and now it's ending here. So it's all perfect. But I know something. The second that I finish that class, after the 50 minutes and everyone's left, I'm going to be driving home and I'm going to say, God damn, I forgot something. I really should have pointed out this. I really should have pointed out that. Oh, there's this funny thing where, Kanye is using all of these football fans as backup singers. And I like to make the point that that's emphasizing our need for some kind of sense of togetherness because we feel so isolated post-COVID and in technology. And I probably won't end up having the time to mention that in this class. And that's going to bother me. But the good thing is this. Everything in this class, everything that I teach, is based around the idea that culture reflects society. That's the whole point. That's why we study culture. You can learn about people, their feelings, their fears, their wants, their loves, everything by studying culture. In my opinion, the more popular the culture, the more you learn because you're learning from the most amount of people. And so the fact that it's going to be incomplete, the fact that it's going to be done so quickly, that my PowerPoints are not animated perfectly, that some of the lyrics I'm going to be quoting are probably misquotes, the fact that the dust has not settled, in fact, reflects the society that created it. Nothing could be better than an incomplete class. And that's what I want to talk to you about right now, is the incomplete things with this beef. There are about two things that I think really should have been hit on by Kendrick and by Drake. Now listen, I know the beef might not be over. I think it's over. In my opinion, it's over. Not like, oh, it's over, but it's reached a point where I think if Kendrick responds, he can't gain anything. Because Drake's final attack was such an own goal, there's no way for Kendrick to hurt him worse than he's hurt himself. So that's why I think it's over. But we'll see. I even said in one of my videos last week, hey, could you please finish this by Wednesday so I can teach the beef? Thank you, Kendrick and Drake, for serving my class. So I'm gonna get to those two things, the two things that I think they missed. But before I do, I should probably address the fact that, hey, what's going on? What the hell? I just released that video 2 days ago thinking everything's fine. I didn't expect to go viral. I didn't expect to get tens of thousands of more subscribers, but I have. And I'm a YouTuber, but I love watching YouTube. I may be a professor. I may have a doctorate in 17th century French literature. Okay, I do, but I love YouTube. And I love it when I discover a new YouTuber and they have a video that goes viral, and that's how I discuss them. And then they make a video kind of right after that's sort of like, hey, this is who I am, because no one expects to go viral. And I sure as hell did not expect to go viral. I would have done things way differently had I known that that was going to be my most successful video by a factor of like 200. So hi, my name is Professor Sky. I am a professor of French at a small liberal arts college. Small public liberal arts college, support public education. I do not represent my college, so I don't say their name. I do this as a private citizen. I do study 17th century French literature, but I also study and teach hip hop. Those are the two things that I teach. I want to address a few things that kind of popped up in the comments. A lot of people pointed out the fact that I am white. That is, this is a portrait of me. I understand that. And I talk about it a lot on this channel. As a matter of fact, longtime viewers of this channel think I talk about it too much. But on that video, I didn't know a couple 100,000 people would be checking in. I highly suggest you watch the video by Foreign Man in a Foreign Land, The Culture Vultures of Commentary, where he interviews myself, Anthony Fantano, Volksgeist, and discusses this very issue of whiteness in spaces talking about black culture, okay? He's going to do a better job than I can because he is not white. so he can better describe how it all works, okay? So please check out that video if that interests you. I mean, that's the whole thing. I didn't expect this. I mean, just to show you, I printed this out. By the way, I like printing things out. I don't do graphics. I don't edit. That's one of my things. I don't edit, and I don't do graphics. I do 3 to 5 videos a week, and that's what I do. So this is my graphic. These are my views. And you have to understand, this right here is like a huge success. That's when I did the Playboi Carti concert review, and I got like 20,000 views in one day. I thought that was the most I'd ever succeed. You know, over here, you know, maybe over somewhere over there maybe, is my Makami video where I talked about the history of Haiti and how it's reflected in his music. That was super great. But that's how crazy things are. Okay, no one expects to get 400,000 views in 2 days. No one expects to have someone clip you on Twitter and get 10 million views. No one expects DJ frickin' academics to discuss you on a live stream and make fun of you and say you don't know what you're talking about. By the way, I don't want any beef with DJ academics. There's some things I do not like that he has done, but I respect him very much for most of what he's done. I will say probably the coolest thing that's happened about this is I discovered Rare Breed Entertainment, which is a really good YouTube page that watched my video and discussed it. So I want to thank them, the Sorry It's True podcast. If you haven't seen them, if you like my stuff, like the way that I talk and the way that I think, we are very much on a very similar sort of trajectory and approach. It's kind of very analytical as opposed to reactive content. So please check that out. You know, why didn't I expect it? I had done 5 videos in 6 days on the Drake and Kendrick, you know, beef. And what happens is, if you do multiple videos on the same topic, in general, talk to any YouTuber, they'll tell you this, it's diminishing returns. So if I review the Taylor Swift album, I'll get 15,000 views. And then if I review the bonus material, I'll get 6,000 views. You know, just in general, that's generally how it goes. So by the time I was doing my 5th video in 6 days about this, I just thought, whoever's watching this, they know me. Talking like, you know me. You know, they all know me. They know what I'm like. I didn't even do my usual intro. And I just figured no one would be watching. That's what's so wild about the internet, you know? You never know what's going to hit. So that's what's so funny, is it was my biggest video, and I was mainly dissing Drake the whole time. But that's actually not my thing. Ironically, my channel is based on positivity. Like, if you ever see I review an album in the future when it comes in your feed, understand that's a thumbs up. I never review anything I don't like. Never. Now, I might analyze something that I don't like, which is what I was doing there, putting it in this kind of larger context. But, you know, if Drake comes out with an album and I think it sucks, I'm not going to talk about it. I don't want to hurt artists. You know what I'm saying? I don't do ratings either. I don't do 10 out of 10 or A+ or any of that stuff. So that's kind of all the stuff that I do. So if that interests you, please stick around. Please check out other stuff. Please know, also, I'm not a Drake hater. I think the man is a genius. I legitimately think he is a genius. I don't necessarily think he is a genius in the same way that Kendrick is, or the same way that Rakim is, or the same way that Marley Marl is, but I think he is a kind of genius, a kind of pop art genius, okay? And not for nothing, but I thought Honestly Nevermind was one of the best albums of the year. I really did. And I've reviewed every album of his in the last 5 years, and I've liked all of them. The thing I got the most comments on was the double negative issue. So I made this point where I talked about how Drake kept on using double negatives when refuting the claims against him. And a few of you correctly pointed out that this can be seen as African-American vernacular English. Now, the reason I didn't address that on the channel is twofold. Okay, first of all, most people who know my channel know that I think a lot about language, okay? Please, if you could see any video that gives you a sense of who I am, check out my video on Glorilla, okay? I'll put a link to it up there, okay? I talk about Glorilla and the way that she uses language, non-standard language, a kind of vernacular. I talk about an interview with Shannon Sharp. I talk about what James Baldwin might say about it, how it fits in with the traditions of Langston Hughes. Listen, it's a very good video. Frankly, it's better than my Drake video that blew up. You know, what are you going to do, you know? So I am very aware of the fact that using double negatives is often seen as a slang form of talking in African-American vernacular English, okay? By the way, that Glorilla video now has 2,000 views. So if you want to really watch something cool and support this channel and fight for understanding and not marginalizing different voices in different languages, please check out that video. But my point still holds. I'm going to go back to it. Drake should not have used so many double negatives, and this is why. One of the things that he is criticized for is how much he code switches, which isn't a problem in and of itself, except for the fact that Kendrick posits, and I would agree, but Kendrick posits that that is a sign of inauthenticity, that he goes in between a voice that he could use while applying for a bank loan in Nova Scotia, and then he uses language that would sound like he was hanging around with a bunch of gangsters in Memphis, right? The fact that he goes between them. So what I think that means is, first of all, code switching is essential. I actually do not like Kendrick for looking down on code switching. Like, it's a very difficult world to navigate. I am not marginalized, so I'm saying what I observe, okay? From what I know, from what I observed, from the people I've talked to, code switching is essential and it is very difficult. So, all that said, because Drake is code switching, that means it's a choice. It's a choice when he decides to rap in one way or rap in another way. Therefore, using all these double negatives when talking about this can be seen, I think, more as a choice or perhaps unintentional bias towards a specific way of speaking, which might indicate a hidden truth. Okay, so that's why I'm saying that. But thank you all for commenting on that. I really appreciate it. I love negative feedback. I do. I mean, when it's reasonable, you know. I like negative feedback because it really helps me to be a better communicator. It helps me to understand how I'm perceived of. The other thing that people said was that I said this was the battle for hip-hop soul. And a lot of people got mad because I said that Drake is going to win the battle for the soul of hip-hop. Well, this is tricky, because I probably should have said the face of hip-hop. But I am a participant. I am not a participant in this culture. I am an observer. The same way that I don't know the material conditions or the daily life of an inhabitant of Louis XIV's court, or an employee of Louis XIV, I do not understand what it's like growing up in the Bronx in the 70s, or what it's like growing up in Memphis, or any of that, right? But as an observer, okay, as an observer, this is the real question. Like, has hip-hop lost its soul and become what Drake is? Is Kendrick's fight not a fight to reclaim the more conscious, more lyrically motivated, less pop, less, as some could say, watered down version? But you know, I'll make a sports analogy. I made a soccer analogy in the last video. I'll make a basketball analogy. I'm from Boston, okay? And I don't like the Celtics anymore. I don't like the Celtics anymore because we traded away the soul of our team. Now, they're probably going to win the damn championship, and I don't care. I don't care. I don't like Jason Tatum. I don't like him. I just don't like him. I don't hate him, but I don't like him. To me, the soul of the Boston Celtics was a man named Marcus Smart. It's my favorite basketball player of all time. Okay, him and Bill Russell. Those are my two favorite players of all time. And like, he wasn't the best player, you know? He wasn't the best player. Obviously, Jason Tatum's 10 times the player that Marcus Smart was. But to me, when I watched the Boston Celtics, Marcus Smart was the soul. So that's the question, you know, is the face of hip-hop and the soul of hip-hop going to be the same thing? For much of its history, it was. I would say, you know, Jay-Z, Run DMC, even Grandmaster Flash. There's quite often you will have a time where Tupac, where the soul of the art is the same as the face of the art. And so maybe that's what we're trying to do. Maybe we're trying to reconcile those things. Anyways, I teased you that I'm going to talk about two mistakes. Two things that were overlooked, and I want to talk about those now. So, here they are. Number one, Drake did not make fun of Mr. Pulitzer Prize messing up so badly by calling Haley Joel Osment Joel Osteen. I was trying to figure out why didn't he? Because if Kendrick is Mr. Bars, is Mr. Famous Writer, Mr. Thinks Everything Out, Mr. Plans Things Ahead, either he is planting a very obscure seed for a tree which we may never see grow, this kind of Haley Joel Osment, Joel Osteen thing. Like, if there's some kind of, like, I'm not even talking 4D chess, I'm talking like 8D chess. I'm talking like a chessboard so complicated you can't, to even perceive of what the board would look like, your head would explode. Or he just screwed up and he got the Joels mixed up. And that's what's interesting to me, because that's part of the beef, that's part of the speed. I'm going to talk about this in my class in now a little under 45 minutes. I'm going to talk about the fact that Kendrick Lamar made a mistake because he's going so fast, because the technology, which has always been the accelerator of the culture of hip-hop, the accelerator, the accelerator, the accelerator. If it weren't for Grand Wizard Theodore having a record player that he could stop and go back and forth, scratching wouldn't have been invented, okay? If it weren't for the MPC, if it weren't for the 808, if it weren't for Fruit Loops, if it weren't for SoundCloud, if it weren't for all these things, we wouldn't have all this culture being accelerated, and this is a part of it. The fact that we have a rap beef where one of the smartest people in the country, truly one of the smartest, most sophisticated, influential minds in our country, mistook a child actor with a mega church pastor. But of course, what if he had? What if he had dissed him? Then we would have missed the fact that he made the same mistake. Drake made the same mistake. He said Epstein. He said Epstein. He said, I was expecting you to make these Epstein allegations. He said that to Kendrick. But Kendrick made a Weinstein allegation. So what's up? Like, first of all, we can just have just the names are similar. They're both very famous sexual predators whose last names end in Steen. Okay. They both spent time in jail. One of them a lot less time in jail than the other. But like, this mistake is fascinating because then it's as though he is self-telling. It's like he's making a mistake. It's like he's saying something about himself. It's sort of like the double negative thing I was saying earlier, that with this speed, there's less of a filter, there's less editing. I truly believe that the last song by Drake was not like put through his team, like wasn't put through OVO, wasn't written by his co-writers. I think he just did it. I just think he put it out. And I think someone would have caught it. Someone would have said, hey, Aubrey, I'm pretty sure you mean Weinstein instead of Epstein. So it ends up becoming potentially a self-tell where it now seems like, why did you say that? What is this a Freudian slip? But actually, and this gets into the main thing that Kendrick missed. Because in my heart of hearts, I don't believe the PDF file allegations. I don't. I do not believe them. I believe there is smoke, but I don't think there is fire. Okay? That's just my opinion. I might be proven wrong. I hope I'm not proven wrong. I hope that no one's been hurt. Okay? But that's just my interpretation. That's just what I feel. Okay? Who knows? But I do think Drake is a Weinstein. He might not be an Epstein, but he might be a Weinstein. And I think Kendrick missed a very essential line from one of Drake's biggest hits of the past 5 years, where the whole claim against Drake is that he is a master manipulator and a sexual abuser and a colonizer. And Drake gave you the line in the song with, ironically, Future. Way too sexy. Oh, you like the boy? Well, tell me what you like about him. You a turned-up little thotty. Ain't no wife about it. I'ma fuck her friends and send her back to Metro housing. That is truly odious. And that is coming from his mouth. What does it mean, send her back to Metro housing? That means this multimillionaire who, at a certain point in his life, grew up in an affluent section of the city of Toronto, okay? Not his whole life, but at a certain point he became affluent, and he then became super rich, mega rich, has a compound. He is talking about sleeping with a woman, insulting her, calling her a turned-up little thotty, talking about having sex with her friends, and then sending her back to public housing, using public housing as an insult. This is the crazy, I said it when I reviewed Certified Lover Boy. This is as bad as anything else he's been accused of. This is the colonizing mentality. This is literally finding people who are beneath you, finding people who you have power over through your wealth and influence. Drake has wealth and influence, so he can pick you up I happen to have Inspector Gadget here. He can pick you up and take you and do what he wants to you and all of your friends, and then send you back to the poorhouse. You little, worthless, nothing. You poor nothing. I used you, and now you're done. That was a hit. There were memes about that song. He said that on purpose. And we all heard it with our ears. And now we're saying, is there a chance that Drake is in? He said it with his own. He is actively supporting the concept of abusing power and influence to take advantage of women sexually and then discarding them as though they're nothing. So, hey, Kendrick, if you're watching, which, hey, I used to say who knows. At this point, is this, you know what's going to happen, by the way? You know what's going to happen? This video is going to do terrible. It's not going to show up on anyone's feed. For some reason, I will have said something. The algorithm is going to be pissed at me. And even though I'm not doing this video to get more clicks, I just want to welcome in the people who were there for the last one so they get a better idea of who I am. I'm not some like, someone called me a Harvard professor, someone called me a music professor, and someone said that I don't respect African American vernacular English. I'm like, oh boy, I got to clarify these things. But yeah, but the way it's going to work is no one's going to end up seeing this too. But that's fine. All right. So tell me, what else did Drake and Kendrick miss? What other angles of attack could they have made? Should we not focus our energy on what the man has actually admitted to? And if we're trying to grow as a society and create better men, if we're trying to follow the lessons of Mr. Morale and the Big Stepper, how about we be a little more Mother I Sober, a little more Father Time, and a little less Way Too Sexy. All right, well, until next time. Oh yeah, and by the way, I end every video saying there's the camera, because if you watch my early videos back when I was getting like 40 to 50 reviews, like, you know, we're talking back here. I've got videos that have under 50 views still, okay? I didn't know where the camera was because I recorded my phone. So I used to do the entire video looking like this. So yeah, so now I pointed the camera. Oh, and also, I say this, I say subscribe if you like it. I like to play with words. I say smash the like bucket, because my daughter said that once. And if you like my videos, you can put in the letters AVAA somewhere in your comment, and I will heart that comment. I read every comment. Even the thousands of comments I got on the last video, I've read every single comment, and I will heart every single one that says AVAA. Challenge me, huh? See if you can get me. Leave a comment, say some stuff, and then see if you catch me, all right? All right, awesome. Thank you so much. There's the camera. Yeah, it's right there, right?